if we want to focus back on the powers that be for the moment, what are the powers that be? Well, if you look back not only hundreds of years, but thousands of years at hidden history, generally what you will find is that the people with nefarious intent are the ones that are good at manipulating minds. They're the ones at multi levels are able to cause you to behave in a certain way, not behave in a certain way, without you noticing. And I would say right now, they are running rings around us. We have, in not only in the mainstream world, but actually I would say in what is broadly known as the freedom movement, I would say there's so much fragmentation, agitation, and I would, dare I say it, go as far as to say massive infiltration as well. And you'll see that in the ways that ideas are being deflected away from. You'll see that in certain things you will not hear talked about, which is this. And you will see lots of attention on other things. And the other things that you will see lots of attention on are usually not causes, but effects. So when I started looking into this deeply, I thought to myself, well, look, hang on, what are not the effects, but what are the causes? If we go deep enough here, what are the things that at the root causes that they don't want us to know about and to look at? And so, as I said earlier, that's when I started to look at things like jurisprudence, the philosophy of law, rights, asking questions like, we hear this idea that the people must own the law. Government can't limit your rights using the excuse, for example, for the greater good. Or can they? Right? These are the questions that people need to be asking. We're supposed to be, traditionally, we hear this all the time, that we're all equal under the law, which is the principle of equity. Well, have people just sort of looked into equity and how that works? Yeah. If we live in an equitable society, what does that mean? It means that you can't have a few who then give themselves the right, if you like, to limit your rights or to legislate away your birthright. Yeah. These are the kinds of things that people are not really prepared to look at. Because why? Because it's tiring for the mind. Yeah. It's either because people are lazy, or it's because they're a bit cowardly. Yeah, it's one of those kind, or apathetic. I mean, there are a number of reasons. I'm sorry if I'm being really blunt here, but I'm just going to say it, Unless you are looking at these issues, because let's think about it, right, for a moment. If your main concern is that you have a sense of loss of liberty, if what you perceive is that you're losing your freedoms, if you then are not looking at the framework of justice and how punishment is delivered in your community, and you're ignoring that, and not looking at governance and the matters of governance and the limits of governance and all of that, and who gets to govern, if you're not looking at that, whilst at the same time you're most concerned about the loss of your freedom, I would question your sanity, quite frankly. Do you know what I mean? I'm sorry, but I just think that you are somehow fundamentally limited if you are thinking that it's okay to ignore the rule of law and how it's supposed to operate and whether it itself has a certain legitimacy. So how do you, and most importantly, are you educating yourself on how that's supposed to work at this time of your loss of liberties? And if you're not doing that, then quite frankly, I don't think you're for real. I just think that your concerns about your own loss of liberty are, I don't know, I just think it's kind of a bit childish and a bit petulant.